In 2008, Elon Musk was down to his last few $1 million, sleeping on a couch in a rented house, personally funding two companies that were both weeks from bankruptcy at the same time. His wife was filing for divorce. Investors were calling him delusional, and in exactly 90 days, he would either save the electric car industry or lose everything he'd ever built. This is the story of how Tesla almost died 3 separate times before it became the most valuable car company on earth. Pretoria, South Africa, 1971. A boy is born into a house that felt more like a battlefield than a home. His father was an engineer, brilliant and volatile. Elon later described his childhood as brutal, marked by relentless bullying so severe he was once hospitalized after being thrown down a flight of stairs. But while other kids were outside, Elon was inside, teaching himself to code. By age 12, he'd built and sold a video game. Numbers didn't bully him back. At 17, he left South Africa for Canada, then the US, eventually landing at Penn for physics and economics. He wasn't chasing a diploma, he was chasing a theory that the future came down to a handful of problems worth solving. The internet, clean energy, and space. Most people his age were figuring out what bar to go to. Elon had already picked his 3 fights. His first company, Zip2, was a scrappy online city guide startup he ran out of a rented office, showering at the YMCA to save money. This kid wants us to bet on the internet mattering to newspapers? One early investor reportedly scoffed. Compaq bought Zip2 in 1999 for $307 million. Elon walked away with $22 million and immediately poured almost all of it into his next bet, an online bank called X.com. X.com merged with a rival, became PayPal, and in 2002, eBay bought it for $1.5 billion. Elon's cut, $180 million. Most people at that point would have bought an island. Elon bought a rocket company. You're going to build spaceships? With what team? With what money? Nobody at NASA took him seriously. He didn't care. SpaceX was founded that same year. And almost immediately, an even bigger idea started pulling at him, one that had nothing to do with space at all. In 2003, a small startup called Tesla Motors was founded by 2 engineers, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, on a simple bet. Lithium-ion batteries were finally good enough to build a real electric sports car. In 2004, they needed money to survive. Elon put in $6.5 million, became chairman, and started showing up in the workshop asking questions no one wanted to answer. Why does this cost so much? Why does it weigh this much? Why isn't this faster? He wasn't an investor watching from a distance. He was already trying to run the place from the boardroom. By 2006, Tesla revealed the Roadster, an electric car that could outrun a Porsche. The press loved it. Reservations poured in. It looked like the future had arrived early. But underneath the hype, the company was bleeding money it didn't have. The Roadster's transmission kept failing. Costs spiraled from $50,000 a car towards 6 figures. Engineers were redesigning parts mid-production. By 2007, the board forced out CEO Eberhard. Elon stepped in as de facto boss, then took the title officially in 2008, inheriting a company burning cash with no reliable product yet in customers' hands. You do realize this company might not exist in 6 months, one board member reportedly warned him. Elon's answer, in essence, then we fix it in 6 months. And then 2008 happened. The global financial system was collapsing. Credit dried up overnight. At the exact same time, SpaceX had just failed its 3rd consecutive rocket launch, and more failure, and the company was finished. Tesla was burning through its final reserves. Elon was funding both companies out of his own pocket, and his pocket was running out. He sold his only house. He borrowed money from friends to cover rent. His marriage collapsed under the strain. By December 2008, Tesla had, by his own later admission, mere days of cash left. On December 23, 2008, 2 days before Christmas, Tesla closed a $40 million funding round that kept the company alive with hours to spare. The same month, SpaceX's 4th Falcon 1 launch finally succeeded, landing a NASA resupply contract worth $1.6 billion. 2 companies, both on the exact edge of bankruptcy, both saved within weeks of each other. Most founders don't survive one near-death experience. Elon survived 2 simultaneously in the same month. The lesson he took from it wasn't caution. It was the opposite. Comfortable is how companies die, he'd later say. Tesla didn't slow down, it doubled down, pushing toward a car that didn't yet exist in any factory on Earth. An electric sedan built for ordinary buyers, not millionaires chasing a novelty sports car. In 2010, Tesla went public. Skeptics called it reckless and unprofitable car company IPOing in the wreckage of a financial crisis. That same year, Tesla struck an unlikely deal with Toyota, buying the old NUMMI plant in Fremont, California for pennies on the dollar. Wall Street analysts weren't impressed. A car company that's never turned a profit, buying a factory a bigger car company just abandoned. One report noted skeptically. It looked like scavenging. It was actually the foundation of everything that came next. 2012, the Model S launched a full electric sedan with real range, real luxury, and real demand. Motor Trend named it Car of the Year. Consumer Reports called it the best car they'd ever tested. For the first time, electric car didn't mean compromise, it meant better. Tesla stock climbed. The impossible startup was becoming a real company. But Elon wasn't interested in staying a luxury brand. The entire plan, publicly stated as far back as 2006 in what he called his master plan, was always the same. Build an expensive car first, use the profits to build a cheaper one, then use that to build a car everyone could actually afford. Luxury was never the destination. It was a funding mechanism. That mission collided with reality in 2017 when Tesla unveiled the Model 3, the mass market car meant to bring electric vehicles to millions. 500,000 people put down deposits before a single one rolled off the line. And then the line couldn't keep up. What followed became known inside the company as production hell. Robots designed for extreme automation choked on basic assembly steps. Battery packs were being hand-built in a tent erected in the factory parking lot because there wasn't enough floor space. Elon began sleeping on the factory floor, sometimes in a sleeping bag under his desk, working what he described as 120-hour weeks. "We are going to actually die," he told employees at one particularly brutal point, only half joking. Suppliers were missing deadlines. Costs were spiraling again, almost exactly like 2008, just with more zeros. By late 2017, Tesla was burning through roughly $6,500 every single minute. Analysts openly speculated about bankruptcy. Short sellers bet billions against the stock, certain the company would collapse under its own ambition a third time. It didn't. Through sheer brute force iteration, redesigning the line week by week, pulling some automation back out and putting humans back on the tasks robots couldn't handle, Tesla clawed its way to the production target. By mid-2018, Model 3 output hit the numbers investors had been told were fantasy. Tesla posted its first sustained profitable quarters not long after. The company that nearly died in a parking lot tent was suddenly the most valuable automaker in America. 2018 brought its own chaos, a tweet about funding secured for a buyout that never happened, an SEC investigation, a $20 million personal fine, and a forced step down as board chairman. It was a self-inflicted crisis layered on top of a company still recovering from the last one. Whatever the boardroom thought of it, the factories kept running. By the early 2020s, Tesla wasn't just surviving, it was dictating terms to an entire industry that had dismissed it a decade earlier. Legacy automakers who'd once called electric cars a niche were now racing to build their own, chasing a market Tesla had built from nothing while everyone assumed it would fail. Gigafactories rose in Nevada, Shanghai, Berlin, Texas, each one bigger and faster than the last, built on the same logic as that Fremont plant. Buy the impossible thing for cheap, then make it work. Today, Tesla is worth more than most of the rest of the global auto industry combined. The Roadster that almost bankrupted the company now sits in museums. The tent in the parking lot is gone, replaced by some of the most automated car factories on the planet. And the man who once sold his only house to keep the lights on became, at different points, the richest person alive. But the story never fully resolves into a clean hero arc. The same relentlessness that pulled Tesla back from 3 separate near deaths also produced years of controversy, labor disputes, safety investigations, a public persona as polarizing as it is influential. Ask 10 people what they think of Elon Musk today, and you'll get 10 different answers, and most of them will be certain they're right. What's not up for debate is the mechanism. Tesla didn't survive because of one insight or one product. It survived because 3 separate times, at the exact moment, collapse looked certain, someone refused to accept that the math meant what it obviously meant. Whether that's visionary conviction or reckless denial depends entirely on which side of the outcome you're standing on. In 2008, a man with days of cash left kept two companies alive at once and called it Tuesday. By every reasonable measure, Tesla should have died in a parking lot in Fremont, or in a tent, or on a couch in a house he no longer owned. It didn't. Maybe that's the actual lesson, not that the odds don't matter, but that some people only move once they have been told the odds are already against them.